my unmatched perspicacity.
I know we look like assholes right now. That's because we are assholes. Welcome to the AM Club Podcast.
Hey, join me.
Hold on.
Fuck yeah. Protein, bitch.
Oh! Man, stop playing. But anyway.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Look at that tricep. Shit. God damn.
Okay, it's not.
Woo! Woo!
It's
The lighting. It's the
Yeah,
lighting.
You know, now that's better. You get the whole, formation.
Welcome back to the AM Club Podcast. Y'all coming to you live from the studio of a moving vehicle.
Right.
At location, mind your goddamn business.
Undisclosed, yeah. It's none of your business.
Mind your fucking business.
Right.
But today's podcast topic is something that came to us right now. Literally.
And we're just like, hey, let's pod about it. Let's get this out there to the streets. The streets need it. They're hungry, man. They want some more content.
Do you want to give me your phone so I can use the GPS just to make sure I'm heading in the right direction? Sorry, we're podcasting from my phone, and then I just realized that I have no clue where I am.
None whatsoever.
Which is okay. But today's podcast topic is very important, and it actually pulls right off of one of Austin's favorite messages, which is pivot. So today, we would like to talk about demystifying the messages.
Right.
So, and like I said, this is all fresh. We just came up with this right now because we're living it. Because like we like to say, we don't just practice what we preach. We preach what we practice.
Right.
So we want y'all to see the journey, the process of struggle and success. Because life is about living in the trenches. Whether you think about it or not, at one point in time, you will be in the trenches. But basically, what is demystifying the message means looking at life in the sublime. As Robert Greene likes to say, sublime. Apologies. And so, basically, in life, there are a lot of messages, and almost anything and everything is connected. But we fail to observe and see what is going on behind the scenes. And so, there are subliminal messages. Things which can take form of somebody's behavior, or perhaps you get a job opportunity, or you get fired from a job. Maybe you got in a horrendous relationship that burned and ended terribly, but it put you in a situation that you needed to be. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that there are messages that are being told to you throughout your life, and they're building towards a greater story. And unless you are perspicacious, you won't be able to find them.
And if you don't know what perspicacious means, which most people don't,
essentially, perspicacity means being shrewd, having a sharp intuition. So being perspicacious means I can see that the traffic is stopping, and that I should probably stop too because there's likely an impediment on the road. If you're not perspicacious, you will die.
Yeah.
So, at least in this instance.
Yeah. What is it doing? Anyway.
There's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, there's a lot
Excuse the shaking. We are in a construction zone.
And AKA that shitty ass San Antonio.
Well, we're actually constructing.
Oh, damn, I did just let them know where. But, hey, we're leaving it anyway, so you can't find us. You don't know where we're at. But, yes, so to piggyback off what you said, there's going to be a lot of times where you're struggling and you may not know what's the next move. However, that might just be the message that you need. The struggle.
Yeah.
Going through it might be the message that you need to either change or continue. What you're doing or your goals will hopefully be able to, tell you which one. But we've encountered certain things throughout this journey of life and business to where you come to a point and it's, okay, this message seems like it's telling me like we're pointing, all the signs are pointing towards we need to pivot, we need to reroute. So instead of fighting it, sometimes you're just gonna have to say, okay, look, if that's what the signs are telling me, that's what my higher power is telling me. If you believe in that, that's probably where I need to go.
Well, and that's what you just hit the nail on the head because you said the signs are pointing me. But in order to see the signs, you have to be aware and looking.
Right. Yes. Always have to be aware, and that's probably one of the things as a human that we don't realize that we're not that good at. Self-awareness and just being aware in general. You might be aware of certain things, but more often than not, it's probably the wrong things. But being aware of the right things is a skill. Knowing how you are as a person, knowing where you could possibly be known to offend people, knowing how people interact with you, and also knowing what's the time to leave and what's the time to arrive. You have to know what time is it to exit. There's a lot of companies and a lot of businesses out there that were sold and made tons of money because they knew this is the right time for me to exit out of this company and sell it because I've taken it to the point to where either I wanted to take it or I only took it to the point to where this is all I can do for the business. They knew the signs. They demystified the messages saying, okay, this is time for me to make an exit. So, and as you have a lot more experience with these things, it becomes kind of second nature to see them, and you're not going to fight against the current so much. But initially, it's going to be a little bit difficult, of course, because it's going to feel like you're doing something wrong, like you're doing something that's
Against the grain.
It could even feel like giving up in an instance, but there's a difference between giving up and pivoting.
Right. That's a good point. No, if you ever want to succeed in life, and it depends. It really depends. But most of the time, you need an exit strategy. Now, I'm all for the idea of burning the boats and leaving yourself no second plan or plan B. Now, I like to say my plan B is make plan A work. But in reality, especially in business, because yes, you can say, in war, either I die or I win. Yes, true. But in business, like, if you lose, you don't necessarily die, which means you still have to feed your family. So you still have responsibilities that you have to work for. So you going into any partnership, any business plan, any retainer contract, whatever you want to call it, you always need an exit strategy, and it needs to be well planned. Because if not, like Austin said, you can lose out on a lot of money, and you can also overstay your welcome within any industry or whatever it could be, which is never a good thing.
Right. And let's say, so recently, I know for us, because getting an actual example of what we're talking about helps. So we talked about, we're on pivot number what?
7. So we had pivot from 5 to 6 was 3 weeks ago. 6 to 7 is today. So when we definitely practice what we preach, because that's a very fast pivot. There were a lot of red flags immediately. But Austin, please elaborate.
So we were aware of another market, which originally, maybe the pivot 2 and 3, which was something that we knew that we could potentially implement. We were just kind of putting it on the back burner.
Through a network.
Yes.
Through a network, an individual that I met at the gym. Go to the gym.
Right.
And talk to people. Sorry.
To get back, I almost forgot what we were at, but I remember. I remember. So
I had to make a point.
Yeah, I got you. But pivot 2 or 3, we knew that this is something that we could possibly implement, and we continue to keep that in the back burner. But again, it was on the back burner. And today we had an experience where we realized, one, the level of care for the specific thing that we were trying to do right now. Yes, we could do it, and we could do it relatively well. But do we care about it that much? Not really. 2, we also realized that it is an oversaturated market.
Oh,
And though there are times where people can come into an oversaturated market and change things up, we always kind of came from the standpoint of we want to create and be kind of a focal point in a niche market and expand that to where for that particular service, they're coming to just us,
right.
which is easier to do when you have a very small market that many people can't, replicate easily, or don't care to replicate easily because it just takes too much. The learning curve is too hard. And then also, we realized it's like, hey, doing this takes a lot of manpower, actually having to go out and put forth, gas mileage and footwork for us to do anything, and for us to get any sort of monetary value back. But the way that the market is moving, the way that society is moving, doing everything manually makes you lose time. And wasting time and losing time is losing time and wasting money.
And money you
Losing
can always make, but time you can never get back. Only a fool squanders time.
Exactly. So we were like, okay, look, we have this particular service here that everybody, every business is going to need. They need it. There's a way to automate this process a lot easier, and that allows us to free up time to actually go out and get more clientele and network more as well. And this is also something that can be scalable faster.
Do you want to give them the example from this morning?
What was that?
The shoehorn?
Yes.
See, literally, okay?
And this
Pay
is
attention to the messages.
Exactly. This is another there's a lot of messages today. So, as I was going to put on my shoes, my professional tied up, heels, shoes, dress shoes, all that,
Custom leather, baby.
I was going to put them on, and I saw a shoehorn right there next to where my shoes were. And I was like, wow, I haven't used a shoehorn forever. I got the shoehorn, I put it in my shoe, and I slipped my foot in there. And I did the same thing with my left foot. And I did that, and I was thinking, I was like, oh shit, this is what the fuck we need to do. Do we need to create another version of the shoehorn? No. But we do need to find something that's so niche that people need and that makes people's lives so much fucking easier, and people are willing to pay you for this because it makes your life so much easier. You don't have to fucking worry about it. We got it. That's what we need to do. We need to recreate the shoehorn, not literally but figuratively.
Metaphorically, be the shoehorn, my
Yes,
friend.
be the shoehorn. Shit, that could be the fucking title, but metaphorically, be the fucking shoehorn.
Oh, that could be another podcast. Be the shoehorn.
Hey.
Be the tool that people need.
Yeah, flexing.
What are we on? 15? Podcast number 16. Be the shoehorn.
Yeah. So, finding that
Right.
was a message to me, and I told Jose about it. It was a message to us. It was just like, shit, maybe it's time to restructure what we're doing to fit this kind of business model, in a sense of being that thing that people need, that makes people's lives so much easier, and it automates shit for people a lot quicker than us going out to do a lot of manpower, foot traveling, footwork, all that shit, whatever the fuck you say, to beat the street and shit like that. All that shit that you have to go out, all the shit that you have to say to mean that you're going out and actually doing it. There's a much simpler solution that can be automated and it makes your life a whole lot easier. So that was the thing that we noticed this morning from the messages.
I mean, and to give you perspective, we've been through 7 cities today. 7 cities. I don't know if you could count. That's a lot of ground to cover for any return.
Right.
Period.
But if there was a way to automate this whole process to where we could oversee it, even if it does require somebody having to go, why not get someone to go to do that and you oversee the process? And one of the things I believe it was Think and Grow Rich, was realizing that at some point it costs less in the long run, and not just monetarily, but just in general, it costs less in the long run to hire good people around you and to delegate, as opposed to you trying to manage everything and you having to go out and handle every little thing.
Yeah.
Because again, time is money. So if you delegate and hire a team around you, they can go out and do these things, which allows you to have space to do whatever it is that you need to do and worry about the higher things such as growing the business and whatnot, as opposed to having to be out and doing the actual hard work. And, that applies to physical tasks or software related things as well. So if there was a way to create some software or some type of code that could expedite shit for not only you, but for other people's businesses as well. And then you're also not even the person having to do that. Somebody else can do that. All you have to do is oversee that process.
Now we're talking.
And I'm not trying to divulge too much into, what it is we're going to, but, it's another service that we plan on offering. And this traffic looks horrendous. Crazy. So we might be on this podcast for a whole hour.
I think, but one of the core tenets of leadership and management is learning how to delegate. And you hit the nail on the head there. We talked about this before. You will overload your bandwidth if you try to do everything. And as Austin says, I'm guilty of that most of the time. I try to do more than what I am capable of. But sometimes you do have to test the boundaries. So that much is true. But I kind of want to give him like a succinct idea because, this kind of like, I couldn't give a good discussion of what it meant to demystify the message. Mm-hmm. And then we kind of like poked around trying to assemble the story. So let me try to knit it all together real quick. See if we can make it succinct, and then we can close with an analogy perhaps if we want. But so demystifying the meaning or the message. The example I'd give you is today. So we had to show up early. We had to wake up early first, show up early, have a morning scrum. And our morning scrum actually started with, what did it start with? Disgruntled? Yeah, I would say a disgruntled conversation about an unfortunate circumstance. Which, hey, things happen. You get outcompeted. Also, clients and potential clients fall through. All negatives happen, but that's part of the journey. Then we discussed the plan for today. Went through 7 cities. Fast forward when we're at the actual event that we are participating in, and we realized, okay, well, don't forget the shoehorn. The subliminal message is a shoehorn. Austin puts on his shoes and he goes, bro, when was the last time I used a shoehorn? I don't know, but this is such a ubiquitous and important tool that everybody and anybody needs and can benefit from. this is what we need to think about. And mind you, we already have this current business of our businesses has three facets, and we're on the main facet, and we're sidelining the other two. But in that, it's been more clear that these two should be a higher priority. So fast forward to the event, we realize, okay, there are multiple people doing exactly what we're doing. So it's that immediately we realize, okay, this is a saturated market. And seeing how passionate and driven those individuals were, we're like, look, sure, we can produce and compete at your level, and we currently are, but in order to surpass you, there's diminishing returns for us because it requires more and more and more granular work that takes away from actual progress, I would argue, in the bigger, grander scheme of things. So then that was another message. And then the next message was also actually from our morning scrum where we were like, hey man, we're not getting as many clients as we want at the speed that we want. Even with all of the tactics that we're approaching. And mind you, we are aggressive and our approaches are very aggressive. After we strategize, we immediately jump to action. And the example is how we started this business. We started it within 6 hours of the idea germinating. And now, when we finished, left the event, we talked for a little bit, done deal. We've already decided to pivot. Whatever needs to get done is going to be done by the end of next week. That's an example of demystifying the message. It was all these little tidbits in a matter of less than 8 hours, where it was a message here, thought here, conversation here, shoehorn, individuals, big crowds, oversaturation, and then another discussion. That's really what I'm trying to say.
Whew. Yeah. So, whenever you are out there and you're doing stuff, you're in the weeds, try not to be so attentive to just what you're focusing on. Be attentive to what's going on around you as well. So you can get an understanding of the market, how shit is. And if you're seeing things, you're seeing trends, you gotta pay attention to the trends. You see some trends. It's like, seen that once. Seen it twice. Third time, maybe I should adjust how I'm doing certain things in order to either follow the trend or set a new trend. So,
I like that.
Yeah.
Set a new trend.
And use what you observed for the next trend that you're going to set. So, all that to say, there's going to be a lot of messages that pop up. You just have to be aware. And if you're not aware, these things are just going to pass you by and you're going to be stuck. And you can be stuck for weeks, you can be stuck for months, you can be stuck for years. It's up to you. But you have to be attentive and pay attention to these messages that are happening, that are going by you at all times. Well, I wouldn't say at all times.
All times. You just might not be aware of it.
Yeah.
And we're not claiming to be the most aware of.
Right.
We still definitely miss messages. We are human.
Right. Because we could have, who knows, we could have made this pivot weeks ago.
We could have made this pivot from the germination of our business.
But hey, there are certain things we probably needed to learn throughout the process that would make this pivot better and the start of what we're trying to do better, because we got all this experience that we wouldn't have gotten if we would have jumped into it from the get-go. So in certain resources, like,
we have networked
exactly
phenomenally through what we've done so far.
So
I mean, just literally one individual is enough.
Right.
And I mean, we have more than one that is a positive network. Just one, more than enough.
So pay attention to the signs, man. They're out there, messages, and demystify them. Not so. Don't take time to just ponder on the dumb stuff. You gotta keep enough bandwidth open to be able to demystify the messages that are important. So I think that's all I have to say on that subject. Any closing remarks? Or we're out of here.
I was gonna say one thing. don't want to say like ploy, but in a joking fashion, we were texting in my family group message last night, and my dad said to me, "You need to work smarter, not harder." And what's crazy is, and I told Austin this a week and a half ago, I said, Austin, we've done the high level planning. Now I need to jump in the weeds and just work in the business. And I basically told Austin, like, hey, supervise me. I'll be here and you can help guide me for what I don't see. Fast forward to today, and immediately it's like, okay, working in the business, yes, you have to do that. But now it's a pivot, work on the business and then reposition to get in the weeds. But it's crazy because that is a message right there. My father saying you need to work smarter was essentially a sign that that is a subliminal message saying, hey, pivot, you idiot. Get out of the weeds. You're not looking in the right direction. And sure enough, here we are.
Right.
Doing what needs to get done, baby.
Yes, sir.
One step at a time, one brick at a time, and as we're going through construction zone, one grain of dirt at a time. The AM Club podcast is out.